Unity in diversity has been the mantra of India ever since it became independent in 1947. But for most part of our independent country history, diversity has meant religions, various regions, languages, cultures, festivals, all coming together. And it has been a beautiful story where 1.3 billion people have been celebrating the diversity. But now, in the past decade or so, diversity has taken a wider meaning, especially in the workforce, where we are looking at women entrepreneurs, we are looking at women in the workforce, participation of LGBT in the workforce, and being more inclusive. And these two moments of including women and LGBT have seen a great momentum. There's been a lot of talk about it and action. And now there's a third revolution happening, and this is including people with disability. Nearly 15% of the global population have disability of some sort, but only 1% of them are really seen in the workplace. So this huge disparity has to be addressed, and this is what is being done at Enable India from the past 20 years. 50,000 people have been trained and given job opportunities or employment by bridging them with hundreds of corporate companies. And today, what Enable India is doing is taking this to a whole new level. So it has partnered with Valuable 500, an organization whose main agenda is to get disability on the board and get the CEOs at the top level talking about disability. Caroline Casey is the founder of Valuable 500. She is a trailblazer, a rock star, and today we have her here with us in Delhi at the launch of this Valuable 500 campaign, where 20 top Indian companies have already signed up, and we are looking for more sign up. So welcome to Caroline Casey. Hi Caroline, welcome to India. It's great to have you here. There's been so much of excitement that you're going to be here. How do you feel?
Well, it's amazing to be back. This is sort of where Valuable 500 began nearly 20 years ago.
That's so interesting. Please tell us about it.
Yeah, because everybody forgets that I was working at Accenture at the time in 1999, and I came out of the closet and I told everybody I was blind.
Okay.
And I needed to give my eyes some time to heal. And so I came to India in 2001 to fulfill a childhood dream to become Mowgli from the Jungle Book.
Oh.
And how I did that is I became a
you
mahout.
had, like Mowgli, you had a small...
No. I became Mowgli by becoming a mahout. It is amazing to be back in India because this is where the Valuable 500 actually began. I came to Kerala in 2001 to become a mahout, an elephant handler. And I rode 1,000 kilometers across India on an elephant called Kanchi. And that was because I was trying to find the confidence again after coming out of the closet in Accenture about being registered blind. So, and this is the country that began my work on disability business inclusion. So it's actually really emotional to be back here again and see the Valuable 500, and it feels like the circle is closing. Yeah, it feels like it's full circle. And as I've been staying everywhere, you know, Ganesh was very important to me for this journey. And Ganesh is remover of all obstacles.
That's right.
And that's what I think disability business inclusion is. It's about removing obstacles so that we can all be included.
Absolutely. And this is so interesting that you started Valuable 500 in the way that you're done and been doing these amazing things. But how actually do you think it started?
The Valuable 500 started because after I was in India on the elephant, I was obsessed with the only way we could create inclusion for people with disabilities globally was that we needed to engage business.
From the top?
No, we need to engage business first on the huge business case, and that's about the market worth $8 trillion and talent and brand and across the value chain, about innovation and about growth. I don't need your pity, we don't need your charity. Yeah? So it was like this was important. I worked on this for a long time. In working on this, we knew that critical to getting business engagement was leadership. Is we have solutions throughout the business, but we want to operationalize this and integrate this and put it into the business system, and we must have the business leadership, because leaders make choices. Those choices create cultures. If a leader cares or gives their intention or attention, things will happen. When a leader doesn't, it's forgotten.
Exactly. And you started with the bank. Your first sign-up was from Unilever, right? And how did that happen?
When I knew that if you want to get leaders, you need leaders. So my very first leader was Paul Polman, the CEO of Unilever, and he is my chairman and still my chairman. And then I got Virgin Media, which, as we know, is connected to Richard Branson and Jeff Dodds there, and then Omnicom. So with these three, we went to the World Economic Forum in Davos, and we launched the Valuable 500 on a main stage session with 5 of the world's biggest CEOs, and this was our big challenge to the world. So we want 500 Paul Polmans or 500 Sheryl Sandbergs all over the globe to create this critical mass or tipping point for change.
Yeah, so you already have about 150, yeah? 150?
No, we have 200.
Oh, wow, that's terrific. And here in India, you signed up like 20 with Enable India doing the work. And what can be measured can be improved. So in a year from now, how do you see this going, and how are you going to measure that the people who have signed up, this really peters down to the organization?
That's a great question. So what we're saying is what gets measured gets done. Well, first of all, what gets onto the board gets measured, right?
Right?
So if disability is on the board, then it will get measured and then it will get done, yeah? So this is number one. So how do we see what success looks like? Every one of our Valuable 500 companies, the CEO must give their signature to ensure that it has got to executive leadership or board level, yeah? And then they will make a commitment to action. And it doesn't matter where they are in their journey, if they are beginning or they are scaling or they're leading, they're still making a commitment to action. So if you can imagine, that's 500 actions at board level all around the world. However, even better, the Valuable 500 will continue after Davos next year. And this will be a community of 500 businesses and their CEOs. And what we will be doing is using their influence to integrate disability performance and reporting internally in business and externally, like in sustainability indexes and in diversity and inclusion indexes. We'll be looking at how they can share best practice to get better, quicker, faster. We're going to be looking at how that they can really trigger the way we see disability in brands and advertising, and also the culture of their organizations. So there will be a change program for our Valuable 500 leaders from after Davos next year.
Great. And you said marketers can be the real change makers, right? But how is this? I'm a marketer myself. I'd like to understand how marketers can be change makers in this.
Well, I think there are several triggers to this change now, and that's making it very exciting. One is the younger generation. Number two is technology. Social media, giving the voice, right? So now let's talk about branding. So the reason I think marketeers are key to this is because of brands, right? Disability business inclusion is a differentiator for a brand right now. So many brands are chasing the same stories. This is a story that affects with consumers. So we have 1.3 billion people in the world who have a disability. With a mother and a father, that's 53% of our consumers. That market is worth 8 trillion. Now, how do you speak to your consumers? Through your brand. And we have two examples quite recently. Netflix have put disability content into their programming. Why? Not because it's good or nice or worthy, because they were trying to serve the consumer and it's good for their brand. And now they have competition with Amazon Prime and Apple TV. The second one that just proves my point about brand is Apple was the first brand or company to trigger 1 trillion globally. Now, the reason for that is inclusive design is at the core of their business. So Steve Jobs always wanted to design beautiful products for everyone. That brand is the chosen brand for people with disabilities and their families, but it's not a disability company. So can you see it's what's good for inclusive design is good for everyone. This is a differentiator. Look at what IKEA has just done with disabled. They've just won a can door. I'm inviting companies to say, you want to be an early adopter? It's here.
Right. And how do you envision your journey with Enable India? Because Enable India comes from a 20 years of background working with people with disabilities and skilling them so that they are more employable. Looking at the statistics that only about 1% of corporate India employs people with disabilities, whereas 15% of the population have a disability of some kind. So there's a huge disparity that Enable India is trying to bridge. So how do you see your journey with Enable India for the next few years?
Well, I have another statistic. Globally, 56% of our leadership or our boards have never had a conversation about disability. So that's a problem. So you link that. That's the reason why we're only seeing 1% of people with disability
and
employed.
And you brought in the term diversity, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the second thing is Enable India have been working on the ground, have many organisations all around the world. They have the solutions. They have the expertise. They have the best practice. They've been working, right? And we have Enable Indias in every country around the world. The reason that we work closely with them is because I'm proving to business, here they are, here's the expertise and the solutions. But what we're trying to get is 500 business leaders to release the potential resources to do more work with organisations like Enable India so we can systematise disability into business. And that's where we're the link. Here's the expertise on the ground, and we're trying to open the hearts, doors and mind and pockets of the leaders.
Yeah, so it's like a last mile and from the top.
Absolutely.
Right.
We can't achieve it without both of us.
Right. So we're going to see the Taj Mahal.
I actually have seen the Taj Mahal twice. I saw that Taj Mahal when I did a big adventure called Around the World in 80 Ways with 3 disabled people, and we went to the Taj Mahal in some very unusual Indian contraption, which was absolutely fantastic. But I'll always go back. Just invite me.
Sure. Thank you so much. It's great having you here.
Is that okay?
Yeah.